Good. How are you, bud?
Doing well. Looking forward to a little bit changing the weather, hopefully.
Yeah. Wow, we got a lot of rain yesterday. Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, check there. Dan. Yep, hang on a second. Yeah, it's pretty choppy.
Hey, Len, do you mind signing out and signing back in real quick? I'm going to see
Sure.
if this might help improve. Thank you. Hey, Len, do you mind signing out and signing back in?
Sounded fine.
Thank you. All right, that looks better. Let's give it a few. Let's give it a minute here, see if it improves. Thanks, Len.
Okay.
And you're framed up nicely.
Okay.
I have the same rendering behind me that you have behind you now.
Me?
Yeah,
You have that Wrigley? That's cool with all the names.
nice change of pace for you.
Yeah, just trying to move things around.
There he is,
Hey, Matt.
Hello.
my partner.
And now it's
What's going on?
Hi, Matt.
Hi, Len.
Fuchsia.
Do I need to be lower in my frame?
yeah, I'll readjust you. Your shot looks great there, though. Thanks,
Okay.
man. Yeah, I'll readjust you.
Hey, Kevin, can I really load you?
Let's see, Matt. Can I get a quick 10 count from you?
What's that? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sounds all I could boost him. It sounds like it's coming through his. It sounds like it's coming through his headphones.
It's a little quiet on my end too. That's weird. Hello?
Test, test. Is this any better?
That is better.
Okay. I just boosted his audio. Dan, sounds a lot better.
Test 2, 3, 4, 5.
Perfect.
Is that Cole or is he frozen?
Cole was signed in and then earlier in the day and then signed out, so it's just from his last thing. Can everyone see the message that I just sent?
Yes.
Yep. Hi, everyone.
Yes.
Awesome.
Wish I could move the chat around on this thing. You can't, right?
No, it's always on that right side. Yeah, which for you is tougher because you're blocked off like half your frame, right?
Right. It's okay. I remember what I look like. Len, my producer played you shouting me out and playing Rosanna last year in May, some game in May. I had forgotten. I think
I
Dodger
don't.
Stadium, I think.
Oh, is that what it was? Oh, yeah, because
Yeah,
we were probably playing LA tunes.
yeah.
That's great.
Phantom Toto. Matt Spiegel, he loves this one.
That's awesome.
I forgot it existed, so it made me smile.
Anyone watch the golf or NASCAR or German football back
I
in live
heard
sports this weekend?
the only thing I heard was the golf was a little overproduced, that people wanted to watch golf and they kind of tried too hard. Is that accurate?
Yeah, they had too many voices on it. I mean, I think they should just set up each hole and then just listen to the players talk. It kind of covered up a lot of the banter.
Yeah, that's the one thing when we come back, can't overdo it, you know. People want a little
Yep.
normalcy, not reinventing necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, people are here to watch the sport. You know, they want to hear the back cracks
Right.
and see double plays and whatnot.
With the soccer, have they been advised to have any social distance while playing? Like, are they expected to
So
play differently?
it's weird. Like they don't do any handshakes or anything for goal celebrations. You know, everyone kind of just goes to like an area and is celebrating apart from each other. But then if you line up a free kick, there's a wall of like 10 guys, 5 from each team. You know, literally
Right.
face to face with each other.
And guys posting up for goal kicks and such.
Yeah. There's rules, but then the play starts and everything, you know, goes out the window. They're just back in soccer mode.
Right.
Part of the MLB was having fielders not stand close to base runners if possible. Is that like in between plays, or like you're going to hold a guy on? You're going to hold a guy on. I don't.
Yeah,
That's
that'll
just
never happen.
stupid.
Yeah,
So
we'll get into
Encouraged
that.
to step away from
We'll
base
get into it.
runners. That's the best.
Yeah, don't tag a guy.
You know how they have those selfie sticks? We're going to have selfie gloves. We're just going to have this glove sticks, the glove at the end of the stick, and you tag a guy with a 6-foot stick.
Hey, save it for the air. This is gold. Come on.
Yeah, we'll bring out all
Sliding
the ideas.
stick. You can slide in with 6 feet. You can touch it with the pole. You're safe.
Yeah, it's a family show, man.
Hey, Bruce, this is Kevin. Can I get a slow 10 count from you real quick, just to check your lip sync?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. There's a delay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
One more time, Bruce, if you don't mind. I'm sorry, a little slower if you can.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
There we go. What's up, guys?
So cool.
Cole?
Hey, Cole.
Well,
Doing
hold on.
cool.
I was here early, and then I just had to jump back and do some voiceover stuff for the podcast guys. Everyone have a good weekend.
Yeah,
Yes,
pretty
sir.
nice. A lot of rain here. A lot of rain here yesterday.
My mom sent me a picture of their backyard. It looks like a lake. It's nuts.
Yeah, flood.
It's raining here today too, which is rare.
I've been playing a lot of bags. Me and the wife.
Nice.
I'm in my athletic prime. bags.
Yeah.
Pretty
Little
sick.
bags, some curling, little beer pong. The holy trinity of athleticism.
That's right. The
Get some
quarantine
bocce ball
decathlon.
going.
Yeah.
Quarantine decathlon. Let's go, baby. Let's do a
Maybe
puzzle.
we can
Let's
get
do a
ourselves
puzzle
an
fest.
invite to the Steve Mariucci bocce tournament.
Hey, Jordan really spit the bit at the end last night.
How so?
Yeah, we could have done 7. It's like, yeah, how were they going to do it without Pippen? That wasn't
Right.
going to happen. He
I don't
wasn't
need all
taking
that.
a one-year contract.
I'm not here for this Michael Jordan slander, Bruce.
No Pippen. They did Pippen a favor, sign and trade.
Who could
He
they
wasn't
have?
coming back for it.
Who did they trade for him?
They got something weak back. They didn't care, they were doing him a favor so he could get his money from Houston.
Yeah, it was just.
I'm thinking they could have put something together to get somebody not that could replace Scottie Pippen, but I think that they could have got somebody high powered to come and play.
Yeah. Okay.
The decision had been made the year before, though. That was the crap. That's the garbage.
No, it wasn't. He asked them both to come back. Jordan couldn't play anyways. He cut his finger.
I mean, but it's almost like a backhanded, like, okay, yeah, guys, yeah, you guys won out and won it. You can come back. Like after we said it doesn't matter if Phil Jackson goes 82-0. Like, huh?
But he was out all year anyways because he cut his finger with a cigar clip.
All right, let's run through some traffic here while Kevin's getting set up. So normal on cam, hello, tease topics into the shot. Then we'll hit a full screen on the safety regulations for this year, and we're just going to chat about if we think it's realistic for them to play a full season under these new expectations. And then at the end, we're going to be Brent Musburger joining the show.
Yep. Who are we starting off with the first question?
Let's go Len, Matt, Bruce.
Cool.
Len's got some.
I think it's going to be
some off his chest before he jumped on.
I think the tobacco. I mean, I think it's going to be tough, but I think the seeds will be even tougher.
No, there's no tobacco allowed anyway.
There's not.
Oh, there's no.
What?
No.
Bruce.
No tobacco been allowed. It's not allowed.
They told us there was no tobacco allowed in college either, and guess what? Everyone still had tobacco.
It's not allowed.
You see,
hasn't been allowed for a couple of years.
But there are still guys who still chew during the game and just fly under the radar.
No, can't do it.
Len, are there guys that chew during games, that even though you're not supposed to?
Very few, and I if they do, it's very minimal, and it's nowhere, near. I mean, they might do it in the bullpen, but
yeah,
most guys don't now. You know who chews the most are the analysts, former players. They're about the only guys who chew anymore.
It's against the rules. You get fined now, Cole.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was always a rule in minor league baseball, but still, there were still guys walking around. You could see tins in the back of everyone's pocket. It didn't really matter.
No, you don't see it in the locker room.
Yeah.
You don't see it in the locker room. Yeah.
But they do have.
Hey, Cole, just checking the chat real quick. Making sure you have your chat up, Cole.
Oh, let me. I did not. My mistake. Yep.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Matt. They can hide somewhere and do it, but you can't even. Cans aren't even allowed in the clubhouse.
I guess now I'm trying to think. Being in the Dodgers clubhouse, does anyone?
Not in the clubhouse, but I've seen guys getting it carried out to the dugout for them.
I don't think so.
I'm trying to think. I feel like I remember Tony Cingrani. Maybe it was just in warm-ups though, Bruce, like when pitchers are running poles and stuff.
Could be.
But you know what they did? They did an experiment back in the day where they would send baseball players into a weight room and have them lift weights on like a Monday, and they'd take all their measurements and readings, and then they'd have them rest and recuperate for an entire week, and then they'd send them in the next Monday with a full dip in their mouth, and they lost anywhere from 7 to 9% of their strength. And to me, that always makes me wonder, like, why would you want to do something that would hinder your strength and ability during the middle of a game? Like, you don't see cats like, hey, you want to play a pickup game of basketball? Like, yeah, hold on a second. Let me put this tobacco in my mouth. Like, what?
Yeah. If you ever swallowed that stuff, you'd know why.
Oh, I know why. I've swallowed it before. I used to chew leaf. I never really dipped like that. I've dipped before, but I mean, whose great idea was it? Hey, let's put this tobacco in my mouth. It burns. I mean, like, terrible.
Started with the farmers who were initially baseball players at the turn of the century,
Yep.
previous century.
And that old school like day's work. I've always seen it. I've never even known anybody who's chewed day's work tobacco. You seen that before, Bruce?
All right.
You know day's work, right?
Yeah, you look
think
like
we're
a
set to
Lancaster
get
guy.
on the right
Oh,
episode.
I used to chew beech nut. What's up, Miller?
All good, right?
I think we're set to go. Just one other thing. We're just trying to change up how we introduce everyone. You know, so you don't have to run through the full bio of each person. You know, right down the line. You can feel free to get creative, change it
That's
up.
cool. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
All right, here we go, everyone. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey there, back once again. It's Cubs 360, as always, presented by Miller Lite, and I'm Cole Wright, back once again for another week of fun. Now, on today's show, VSIN's Brent Musburger. He's going to join the show to let us know the future of baseball betting and if Major League Baseball may find a home in Sin City, Las Vegas. But we can't do that before we let you know who's going to be on the show today. So let's give the rundown. It's Bruce Levine. It's Len Casper. It's Matt Spiegel. And Len, did you get your 7 miles of
Stop down
running
real
today?
quick. Sorry. Cole, do you have your window open by chance? I'm just your green screen's breaking up a touch.
What do you mean?
Your green screen, it's getting a little pixelated in the background.
Okay.
It seems like try not to move as much. That'll obviously help.
Okay.
Dan, should he do something with the window to his right?
I mean, it's the same as every day, huh?
To his right. Your window is open, correct, Cole?
Yeah, same as always. Nope.
As always, yeah.
Yeah, same as it always is.
Is the window actually open? Is what I'm wondering.
It's a little bit. It's like somewhat. I mean, I could try to close some of the blinds if you want me to.
Yeah, if you don't mind, sorry. Yeah, it could be that the green screen is actually moving itself. That's why I'm hoping there's no draft or anything hitting it. Let's see.
No, I don't think the green screen's moving.
Any vent or anything around it? Just out of curiosity.
Nope.
All right, hang tight. Let's see if this levels out here. Let's let one out. And then, Cole, we still got your mic. I don't hear you right now.
Yeah, I'm on. You guys got me? You guys got me?
Yep, we
I
got
got
you,
you.
Cole.
Mhm.
So we think Dusold will take another go. Okay. All right. Just a reminder, Len, Matt, then Bruce. All right. Here we go, guys.
Say that again?
5.
Say that again? Oh, you're talking about off the top
it's-
for the first question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Stand by in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh, you've been waiting all weekend. That's right. Cubs 360 presented by Miller Lite. We are back on the air. And like always, I'm Cole Wright. Now, coming up today on the show, VSIN, VSIN's Brent Musburger. He's going to join the program to let us know the future of baseball betting and if baseball has a future in Sin City. We'll talk about that and much, much more. But first, let's meet the gang. It's Bruce Levine. It's Len Casper. It's Matt Spiegel. And we know that Len's an avid runner. Len, did you get your road work in today?
No, my road work will come in a little later, but we'll figure it out. A little swampy yesterday, so I may take a day or two off.
Okay, well, let's get down to business. So we'll worry about your running a little bit later in the program. But right now, we're worried about getting back to normalcy when it comes to the 2020 Major League Baseball season. Now, Major League Baseball, they have developed a proposal for safety guidelines that it hopes to implement for the 2020 campaign. And those guidelines, they call for frequent testing as well as social distancing measures. Now, the proposal, which is already 67 pages in length, here's what it calls for. All right, get this. Players to sit in the stands when they're not on the field, eliminating high fives, fist bumps, handshakes, as well as hugs, so no warm embraces, prohibiting spitting tobacco and use of sunflower seeds. And players, they would be discouraged from showering after the games. And guys, those are just a few guidelines. And Len, so what do you think? Are these parameters, are they realistic, telling guys you can't chew seeds, you can't high five, no fist bumps, none of that?
Well, Cole, it's stuff we've heard about over the past couple of months that probably would happen. But when you see all of it put together, as it was in the Jeff Passan column over the weekend, the word that comes to mind is daunting or Herculean. But baseball is really setting this up to be one great story if they can pull it off. The cliche is where there's the will, there's a way, and they're going to do everything they can to make this happen. And I like the idea to get it all out in the open now. There's no guarantee that all of these rules will be in place. I just have this weird feeling that guys are going to figure out a way to fist bump, or that social distancing thing is going to be very difficult to enforce, I think, once the games are underway. But baseball players are very routine oriented, and every rule that takes you out of your routine is going to take some time to get used to. And that's where the 3 weeks of spring training are really going to be important. Not only are guys getting back into baseball shape and pitchers are stretching out their arms, but I think spring training will be used by all the clubs to remind their players of what they have to do to stay within these guidelines.
This document is intimidating. It is dizzying in the incredible array of things it tries to detail, but it's very, very thorough. I'm glad they're thinking about it. I'm glad it's all out there. But it's crazy to think about what the game might look like this year. Fielders are encouraged in this to step away from base runners when the ball is not in play. There's a mix of things that are encouraged and things that are strictly prohibited. And then you wonder how things are going to happen. How are managers going to argue with umpires safely from the on deck circle? Can you imagine? Hey, Joe West, I'm very mad at you, very upset with you. There's a lot of really weird things that are going to be going on. But I'm not convinced that if we wait until 2021 that there will be a vaccine. We don't know how soon life will get back to fully normal, if it ever really does. So coronavirus baseball is going to be weird whenever it happens. So if they can find a way to do it, I'm ready.
I'm not quite sure I understand the catcher, batter, umpire, and how that goes around along with everything else they want to do. I don't understand how the man on first base taking his lead and getting back to first with multiple tags and throws over from the pitcher, how that will work. There's a lot of confusion here. I think it's workable. It's not going to be perfect, and I think that's the one thing we have to rely on. The fact that if this is going to happen, there's going to be glitches. There's going to be times where the audience is yelling, "Oh no, you're too close to him," and in reality, that's what all the testing is for. Testing the players twice a week, auxiliary places to dress and be with empty ballparks. You're not going to have clubhouses full of people. You're not going to have cages full of people practicing. Everything mostly will be out on the field. So social distancing will be allowed at that point. But again, it's not going to be perfect. And there are going to be positive tests. And when the positive tests occur, you're also going to have a week where somebody is going to be isolated. And there are also going to be people that are watching this and looking for where this player was in contact, who he was in contact with, where he's been. So there's an awful lot to get your head around here. Nonetheless, I think the thoroughness is something I'm impressed with. Again, this is a proposal, so the players will have their side of it and their ideas as well before this thing gets done.
Len, throw the tobacco, throw the sunflower seeds out of the window. When it comes to baseball and the game itself, how much are all these proposals going to change it? Because last time I looked, spitting and baseball go together like peas and carrots.
Yeah, in the political debate, which we avoid on this show, we talk baseball. There's a line called "You revert to your priors," and I think that's what's going to happen once the season starts. In terms of holding runners at first base, spitting in the dugout, I believe coaches and managers will have to wear masks, right? So just the communication part of it's going to be a little weird, but I think for the most part, when push comes to shove, a baseball player is going to do what he thinks is best to help his team win games. The other part of this, guys, is I think this underscores a little bit some of the hesitation among the players. Yes, I know money is a big factor, and that was blown maybe out of proportion a little bit over the last 2 weeks. But if you're going to ask the players to take even more of a financial hit and put them in a fairly uncomfortable situation, let's be honest, when teams are on the road, according to these rules, if they're in place, it's essentially house arrest. You can't even leave the hotel without permission. I do feel for the players here because it is going to be a huge change.
All right, guys, good stuff here. And we're just getting started on Cubs 360. Still to come on the show, Brent Musburger. Well, his ties to the Cubs and Chicago, we know they run deep, and he's going to share some of his favorite North Side memories. That's next, right here. You're watching Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. Stay put.
Nice, good segment. Man, I totally agree with you. It is kind of just like it's house arrest without calling it house arrest. I mean, they can't do anything.
That's going to be really hard. If you're in a city for 3 days and you can't leave the hotel,
the mental side of the game is going to get tested for sure. B Block is on tape with Brent interview already. Cole, we just have you do a quick read here, just an on cam and then teasing the C's.
You got it.
So Dusold, can we just take a one shot of Cole? You have that copy about Phyllis George?
You got it with Phyllis George? Absolutely.
Yep. Great. Yeah, you can count yourself in whenever you're ready.
You got it. In 3, 2, 1. Now, we caught up with Brent Musburger last week before the passing of pioneer broadcaster Phyllis George. Brent and Phyllis, they worked together in 1975 on the NFL Today. And George, she was also a co-host on CBS Morning News. And back in 1971, she won the title of Miss America. Our condolences from the shit. Sorry.
All good.
3, 2, 1. Now, we caught up with Brent last week before the passing of pioneer broadcaster Phyllis George. Brent and Phyllis, they worked together back in 1975 on the NFL Today. And George, she was also a co-host on the CBS Morning News. And in 1971, she was crowned with the title of Miss America. We send our deepest condolences to the George family. Now, still more to come right here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. Like, was Kerry Wood the greatest homegrown pitcher in the team's history? We'll give you a concrete answer. That's next, right here. You're watching Cubs 360.
Nice. Thank you for that. All right, so as you just heard,
No doubt.
this block is Miller Lite Refreshing Take. Kerry Wood is the best homegrown pitcher in Cubs history. Cole, we're coming in off an in bump from his last game, which was today in 2012.
Years ago, yeah.
And we'll
Who started with best
Bruce.
homegrown pitcher?
Yep, we'll go Bruce, Matt, then Len.
You got it.
About a minute each here, guys. And at the end of it, before we hit the tees, we're just going to do a quick promo read. Kerry Wood is off the mound this week, and then we're teasing who's the one player the Cubs can't afford to lose at the end. And I'll put that all in the chat as we go.
Sounds good. Games in the other room.
All set, Cole?
Yeah.
Great. Going to Bruce first here. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
And we continue to stick and move here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. And what a day full of emotion. 2012, 8 years ago to the day, in Kerry Wood's final major league appearance. Now, Wood, of course, he's going to get us to our Miller Lite refreshing take of the day. Back here with the guys, Bruce, Len, and Matt. And Bruce, I'll start with you because the question is, Kerry Wood, the best homegrown pitcher in the history of the Chicago Cubs. What do you say, yes or no?
Maybe the most dynamic, but certainly not the best. Kerry could have been the best if he didn't have all the arm injuries that occurred over his career, but that was not the case. Some electric moments, but without question, Greg Maddux is the greatest pitcher that's ever been developed in the Chicago Cub farm system. Certainly, he didn't spend his entire career there, but 133 of those wins, a 3.60 ERA. There's no question that he was one of the best pitchers ever developed in any organization, and certainly in the Chicago Cubs system.
All due respect to Kerry Wood, and that day was so great. His son running out to greet him as he came off of the mound, a moment I'll never forget. But yeah, Greg Maddux, a second rounder in '84. How about Lee Smith, a second rounder in '75 in terms of Hall of Famers? Yeah. Then there's guys who played the bulk of their career as Cubs. One of them, Carlos Zambrano, Wood's teammate, I think had a better Cubs career than Kerry Wood overall, certainly longer. So I'd probably go with those guys, but Lee Smith, Greg Maddux, top of the heap for me.
Yeah, I like Bruce's answer, one of the most dynamic pitchers in Cubs history. But if we are limiting it to the draft era starting in 1965, the Hall of Famers are at the top of the list. Lee Smith. Bruce Sutter was drafted, I believe, by the Senators, but ended up signing initially with the Cubs. So Smith, Sutter, Rick Russell, really, really good major league pitcher, very underrated Cub. Maddux, and I would agree with Matt, Carlos Zambrano's career, about 12 years. You know, he threw the no-hitter. If you look at his numbers, probably just a tad better than Kerry Wood's.
Matt, what about a guy like Mark Pryor? We know, at least when it comes to mechanics, they were as good as it gets.
Yeah, well, you can't help but think about that entire era when we're talking about this, right? Because all those guys were under 25 with Pryor and Wood and Zambrano and Matt Clement, and it looked like a decade of excellence was sitting right there for us. Would be fun if we were talking about Pryor in this conversation instead of just the brief glimpse of excellence that we got from him before it all fell apart.
Yeah, and I think we're all forgetting a guy that didn't have a great Cub career, but won 270 games, and that is Jamie Moyer. developed in the Cubs system. Came up at the same time that Maddox did. A phenomenal career. Thinking about how a guy like that was able to win those many games, being released as many times as he was, considering to be a gym teacher at a couple times during his career when things weren't going right. That is a great story and a great developed player in the Cubs system.
Well, maybe Ryan Dempster will answer the question for us if Kerry Wood is the best homegrown Cubs pitcher of all time. That's on Off the Mound when Alan Trammell joins the guys as well. You'll catch that 8 o'clock on Friday right here on Marquee Sports Network. Now, until then, we continue to roll right here on the show. And most of the Cubs stars, they're set to become free agents within the next 18 months. So who's the one cat that Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer cannot afford to let walk away? We're going to answer that question and more when Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite, rolls on.
Nice, good block there. Kept it tight too, which is nice. We get a little more freedom for this last segment. I got about 2:30 here. We're coming back off a play at home promo call. And then
Sean Marshall, Jason Hamill, boom.
Yep, you got it. And then we just watched Last Dance end, and the Bulls dynasty got broken up, and they didn't really keep anyone. Who is one player the Cubs can't afford to lose? As you mentioned, there's a handful of players that are going to be on the trading block or losing to free agency here in the next couple of years. So, like I said, about 2 minutes, 2 to 2:30 for this block. And we'll go right down the line. We'll go Bruce, Len, then Matt.
Cool.
Dusold, you good?
All set.
All right, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh, that'll be must-see TV right there. Sean Marshall and Jason Hamill facing off on Play at Home Trivia. That's Wednesday right here on Marquee Sports Network, 8 o'clock Central Time. Now, I don't know if the DVRs are set for these guys, but mine is set for that show. But Bruce, Len, and Matt back here rolling on Cubs 360. And guys, we all watched The Last Dance, and it wrapped up on Sunday evening, much like the Bulls dynasty in 1998. Now, we know that the Cubs, if they want to be dynastic, like those mid-90s Bulls, well, they have some ways to go. But when it comes to locking up any one player in particular, if they want that success, Bruce, who should it be?
Well, it's got to be Javi Baez. I mean, he's the magic man, not only on the field, but the fan base is electrified by this guy. He's obviously one of the top players in the game and still very young at 27 years old going into this season. So from all that, it has to be Baez, the shortstop position, so essential, and he's only getting better at it. Consider that 2019 was his first full season as a shortstop, and how very great he was. So the sky is the limit for him, and he's a must sign.
I would agree with Bruce. I think there are 3 choices here, and that would be Baez, Anthony Rizzo, and Chris Bryant. But I think the strategic play here has to be the shortstop, not only because of the premium nature of that position, but the fact that the Cubs don't have a ton of depth at shortstop. So if you subtract Baez from the mix, there's an enormous hole there. In the case of Anthony Rizzo, he's kind of the team captain, but generally you can find fairly good value at first base. And in fact, if Rizzo were gone and Bryant were still here, you could maybe move KB over to first base. I love KB's versatility. I love Rizzo's leadership, but for me, the guy they've got to keep here for as long as possible is Javi Baez.
Look, I think that's the right answer, but my heart pulls for Anthony Rizzo. It does, because of that leadership, by example, if not directly, vocally, and just the way that he self-sacrifices at the plate when needed, his willingness to go the other way or be a little slappy if they put him at the top of the order, and the attacking fearlessness of his play at first base. I think he's the heart and soul of that defense, even on a team when Javier Baez might be better. So, all right, the answer is probably Javi, but let's say that I made the case for Anthony Rizzo either way.
Okay, makes a lot of sense, because anytime a guy can make a tag down to second exciting, he may be the guy that you want to lock up long term. And Len, I like where your head's at. Chris Bryant, translatable from third base to first base. Who knows? Anything could happen. Well, guys, our time here on Cubs 360 has come to a close. So for everyone at Marquee Sports Network, including Bruce, Len, and Matt, I'm Cole Wright. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody.
Awesome. Right on time there. So we got now just one more segment here that we're going to be running on Memorial Day because we're not going to be taping on that day, but we're going to run a show. So this segment is should all teams play on Memorial Day, being that it's an American holiday, and that's our Miller Lite Refreshing take. Is all teams should play on Memorial Day, I should say. And Cole, this is going to be the A block of that show. So we'll start with the standard. Let's start with Len. For intros, you can start wherever you want. But we already
start with Len on that. So Len, Matt, Bruce, Len, Bruce, Matt.
Len, Bruce, Matt.
Cool.
But yeah, we'll start with right off the top of the show. Hi, hello, intros. And then at the end of it, we're teasing who's the best American player not named Mike Trout. I'll have that in the chat for you. And we're trying to go about 5 minutes here, guys. Dusold, good to go?
I'm all set.
Reigning MVP?
Could be. All right, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to this Memorial Day edition of Cubs 360 presented by Miller Lite. I'm Cole Wright at your service. And on this day, we'd like to thank everybody who made the ultimate sacrifice. And we'd like to thank all those who continue to serve. Now, once again, it's going to be a fun-filled half an hour. And let's meet the game because Bruce Levine is here. So is Len Casper and Matt Spiegel. And Matt, I like the way you have that top button up. But my question to you is, when it comes to grilling on Memorial Day, are you a hot dogs or hamburger kind of guy?
Brats, and slice it down the middle so you get more surface area fully charred and crisp.
I like that. You're going Wiener Circle style with the charred dog. All right, guys, we have a busy day here. I'm sure we'll discuss all of our grilled foods in due time. But in the meantime, let's get straight to it because it is time for that Miller Lite Refreshing take of the day. And my take I pose to you is that Major League Baseball and every team should play on Memorial Day and every other big holiday because, after all, baseball, it's America's game. Len, what do you think?
Yeah, I would generally tend to agree with you. Memorial Day, the 4th of July, and Labor Day are always really great baseball days. In the Wayback Machine, a lot of doubleheaders were played on Memorial Day. I think the tricky part for Memorial Day and Labor Day in particular is they both fall on a Monday. Mondays and Thursdays usually are the off days on the baseball calendar, but I'm with you. Memorial Day, to me, says baseball.
Bruce, but when you think of 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, you always picture the bunting right behind the home plate, right there, the brick at Wrigley. I mean, nothing says Americana like that.
I agree with you, Cole. And the first game I ever went to, May 30th, 1956, a doubleheader between the Milwaukee Braves and the Chicago Cubs.
Stand by real quick.
Wait, stop down here. We had an issue on our. Nothing you guys do. You guys are great. Issue on our end though. Give me a second here.
Yeah, Len finished his segment. It was during Cole's tee up to Bruce. So I could start on a 2-box, Miller, if you want, and just have Cole and just re-tee Bruce essentially. Does that work?
That's good for me. Yeah, I got re-tee Bruce.
Sorry, I didn't realize. Yeah, so we'll do. We can just pick it up right after
Bruce.
Len's answer going to Bruce. Yeah, just throw in when you re-tee him that after all the Cubs would not be playing on Memorial Day this year on that schedule.
I was gonna tie it on the back end, to wrap it up if one of those guys didn't use that. But if you want me to use it right now, I can.
Yeah, let's just toss it in now and
okay.
And we'll see where we go. So we'll just go Bruce, and then obviously Matt will be next after this, and we'll see how we are on timing.
You got it. You got it.
I'm rolling.
Dusold, good to go? Great. All right, here we go in 5,
Yep.
4, 3, 2.
Now, Bruce, the Cubs, they were one of 8 teams that were not scheduled to play on this Memorial Day. And I don't know about you, but something about that just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, you're right, Cole. Very un-American. Everybody should play on Memorial Day. First game I ever went to was on Memorial Day, a doubleheader between the old Braves and the Chicago Cubs. Never forget it. And just the idea that people who work during the week sometimes cannot make it to a ball game, and that day is a special day and a family day, a cookout day. Baseball goes hand in hand with that. So it's got to be baseball for everybody on Memorial Day.
Look, football owns Thanksgiving. The NBA has pretty much taken over Christmas. New Year's Day used to be college football. Now even hockey has gotten in there on New Year's Day. Yes, baseball takes these summer holidays. We do honor the fallen soldiers on Memorial Day, and baseball lends itself to that kind of pageantry so beautifully. But also, Memorial Day kind of signifies the beginning of summer, especially for a climate like Chicago or on the East Coast. My father, the archetypal baseball fan, used to tell me that doubleheader on Memorial Day meant life was about to be spent outside for a couple of months, with baseball a big part of it. So I think everybody should be playing on Memorial Day, and to tie that all in with the holiday and that feeling of summer finally being here.
Hey, Bruce, I'm not going to look up the box scores just yet, but I'm going to guess you saw Ernie Banks, maybe Eddie Matthews, maybe Hank Aaron, maybe Sam Jones, Warren Spahn. Braves, Cubs, man, that would have been a lot of fun.
That was it, exactly, Len. D. Fondy, the first baseman, I was in the second row boxes near the Braves dugout, comes over and catches a ball right over my head. Think of a 6-year-old looking up, and the ball's coming right down on him. His first game ever, and the Cubs first baseman saves me from permanent brain damage. Not all of it, but just the permanent part of it.
Well, as we know, in Chicagoland, that first lightning bug of the season and Memorial Day baseball, that meant that summer has definitely arrived. Now, there's still more to come right here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. And we have a question for you. Who's the best American-born player in baseball other than Mike Trout? You see, there's the changeup right there. We're going to discuss that and much more next right here. You're watching Cubs 360. Don't move.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Len, nice.
Good stuff, gang.
Nice read through there in the middle. Way to get that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice pitch.
Good stuff, guys.
All right.
Who did
Enjoyed it.
anybody do
Thank you.
anything special in that first game, Bruce?
You know, the best part is, Bruce, Sam
That
Jones
one,
was
yeah.
a Cub at 55 and 56, so I got it right. That was a little bit of a risk to say Sam Jones,
Yeah,
but I nailed
threw that
it.
no-hitter in 55. Yeah, said Sam. Excellent. Yeah, no, it was something you never forget, that first game.
Are we
First game
done?
was a White Sox game.
Yeah, we're all set.
Yep.
Appreciate
Good
it.
stuff, guys.
Nice job, guys.
Enjoyed it.
Thanks, everybody.
See you, gang,
Take
tomorrow.
care.
Thanks.
Later, fellas.
You well,
See
you
ya.
guys.